In this week's episode, we take a look at the recent Pokémon Presents.
Microsoft are dipping their fingers into more pies.
And could we see some fan-favourite SEGA titles make a return? I'm Barry.
And I'm Anthony. This is episode 88 of the Retro Gaming Dads podcast, the podcast for everything retro and retro-inspired. As the fashion we always go in with, what have you been playing?
Well, my week's been dedicated to try and get through Octopath Traveler before they take it off Game Pass.
Oh yeah, and that, less than a week you had.
Yeah. Started playing it and 2 days later they announced that it was leaving Game Pass, so wasn't happy about that.
So did you make much headway at all or not?
Out of the 8 characters, I completed it with 4. I unfortunately never done the other 4 and I never got any of the additional jobs either.
Oh, so not as far as you wanted to.
Oh, well, no, absolutely not. I was tempted to pick it up, though, because while it was in Game Pass, you got the 20% off. However, it was still £40, and I was thinking I've probably only got another 10 hours worth of gameplay left in it. I couldn't really justify it, so unfortunately, that's it. I'm done because I don't want to play it on the Switch because I'm so far behind where I was up to on the Xbox. Plus, and this is the biggest reason, no achievements.
Oh yeah, that's very true. So what is the point of you having it on the Switch? I mean, I'm guessing are you going to keep that game in your drawer and never play it again?
No, it's a digital title actually on the Switch.
Okay, so that's it.
So I can't even trade it.
Never play.
Yeah, well, I got it on the Switch originally. Played for a good chunk of it. I'm about 20, 25 hours through, if I remember right. And then it came to the Xbox, and I was like, I'll play it on the Xbox, because obviously I get achievements. Yeah. And unfortunately, just never saw it through to the end.
Shocking. Anything else, or is that 8 you've had this week?
I did pick up Pokemon Violet, though, after saying that I don't think I'll ever enjoy another Pokemon game, and I've had my fill of them. I saw it for $29.99, so while it was quite cheap, I thought, I've got to pick it up.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's one too many games for my drawer, so it does not fit in my games drawer.
So when are you going to get around to playing that game?
Which game?
Pokemon Scarlet.
Pokemon. As soon as I've completed Atelier Riser 1 and 2, because the third one's out at the end of March, plus Final Fantasy 7, because I promised I was going to do that for next year. Plus, I've still got Triangle Strategy to get through. I have actually also downloaded Octopath Traveler 2 demo, and apparently that's 3 hours worth of gameplay.
Okay.
I've got Ys Origins. I've got Ys 7 and 8, I think it is, that I need to get through as well.
So before you got lost even more?
As soon as I've done them, I'm straight on Pokemon.
So that'll take you a good, 100 plus hours throughout this game?
I thought you were going to say years then. At the rate I'm going, it'll take me 100 plus years.
So there's a possibility you could lend me the game in the meantime whilst you're waiting to get that far.
There is a 0% chance that I'll lend you this game. No, in all seriousness, Kerry wants to pick up Scarlet, so we'll probably be playing through the 2 titles together soon. On that devastating news, I'll ask what you've been playing.
I've been playing Hot Wheels, so I've actually been playing quite a lot of Hot Wheels Unleashed still quite enjoying it. It's a very, very, very fast-paced game. I've noticed that this game is definitely not for kids because I struggle to do the time trials. So Samson tried to do it. He would never get past it.
Oh, I did one of them for Elliot, and he made me feel tiny because he had to get a time. I think it was 46 and 41 seconds for the 2 different stars that you unlock. And I could get the 46 one, and I was just missing by about a quarter of a second the lower time. And he was watching me do it, and he just went, "It's okay, Daddy. I knew you couldn't do it anyway." I was like, "You little." I did do it in the end. He went to bed, and I was sat there on the Switch getting really angry trying to do it. I finally done it, so I booted the door open and went, "Elliot, see, told you I could do it."
12 o'clock. Here you go.
Yeah.
What?
No, I did manage to do it, but I should say some of them there's not much leniency in some of those time trial ones. The races seem quite a bit easier.
Yeah, there's some of them aren't too bad, but some of them where, especially if there's the little segments that have something to slow down. That there's a spider that shoots its web, And the amount of times I'm like, I've got a good time. I just need to get past this spider, and it'll stick me as I'm going past it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to reset the whole thing. And the spider's literally the last corner to the start. But
the one I was doing, there was a couple of jumps, and I kept going over the jump and just clipping the rail on the other side and tipping my car on its side and losing time. Yeah. So is that all that you've been playing this week?
No, I've also been playing some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge with my two boys. So Samson and Ash are both like, I want to play a game with your dad, but obviously there's only certain games that is 3-player. So that's one that they will happily jump into. However, Asher does switch off whilst we're playing. So it's just me and Sam fighting, and Asher will be watching Rosie, because Rosie will have my phone watching something. Asher will be watching that while me and Sam are fighting. And they were like, come on, Asher goes, okay, walks along and then just stands there again, doesn't do anything.
Oh, there's nothing worse than that, where it's saying, go, go, go. And you're like, come on, we can't scroll the screen without you, just move.
No, and also it's the ones where it's like, okay, don't get grappled so many times and everything else, because he stood there, he gets grappled, he missed that challenge. It's like, for flip's sake, if you're not going to play, don't play. I will play. Then watches the phone. I'm like, oh.
Saying that, that's another Switch game that I need to play as well. Last time we had a games night, I'd got the Cowabunga collection.
Yes.
And we never touched it. So we need to play through that. Especially Turtles arcade game, Hyperstone Heist.
In all fairness, we need to have a games night soon, because unfortunately we've not been able to have a couple of months due to, well, you having a baby and other bits and bobs.
Well, I never had a baby. Kerry had the baby.
Mm-hmm. Well, a baby being brought into your family.
Yeah, we'll have to do one. We haven't done one since, like, I don't know, October or something.
Yeah, I think it was my birthday, actually. But talking of birthdays, I need to say happy birthday to you for tomorrow. Obviously, we'll speak to you tomorrow as well, but it's Barry's birthday tomorrow, as of the day we're recording this podcast.
Why'd you remind me?
Apologies. I thought it was a happy thing.
Start of my final year of my 30s. I'm going through a midlife crisis. Most guys, when they go through the midlife crisis, buy a Ferrari or a yacht. I just buy a drawer full of Switch games I'll never play.
I'm not even 33 yet.
Mentally, I feel like I'm in my 20s. Physically, I feel like I'm in my 60s.
I don't know which one of them is better.
So it's surprising, like, how detrimental sleep deprivation can be.
Kids, when they get old enough, they'll no longer wake you up.
No, I know. It's just the way Miles is at the moment, unfortunately, as he's feeding at night. Everyone keeps asking me, oh, what are you doing for your birthday tomorrow? I'm like, I'm sleeping. I'm like, no, really? What are you doing? No. Elliot's in school. Kerry's got to look after Miles. I am going to sleep.
You know, that's
I may occasionally get up for a poop, but then I'm going straight back to sleep. Oh, how exciting my life is.
Yes, what a birthday.
Right. Should we actually get on something relevant to the podcast now, rather than my sleep cycles?
And your bowel movements.
Yeah, and speaking of bowel movement, I mean sleep cycles, one of them was from the Pokémon Presents.
There was indeed. So, as everyone knows, we announced last week that Pokémon Presents was coming out, and it was done on Monday the 27th. Now, not gonna lie, I felt like I was a bit let down by it. Wasn't fantastic. It didn't have as much news as I was hoping for. But as Barry alluded to, there is a sleep app called Pokemon Sleep, which is coming out.
Yeah, so I was having a look. This seems to measure your sleep and puts it into one of 3 categories. I think it was something like dozing, snoozing, and slumber or something like that. And depending on how long you're in different parts of your sleep cycle, you'll actually have chances of getting different Pokemon.
As far as I know, it's always Snorlax that's the center. So you are Snorlax, basically. And other Pokemon gather around you and sleep in different ways.
I'm trying to diet. That's not a nice thing to say to me.
Anyway, when you sleep there, other Pokemon will gather around you. And I don't know, it's a bit of an odd one. You literally say, you're going to sleep when you're going to sleep. And then you say you wake up when you wake up. And there's just Pokemon around you, and you unlock unique sleeping styles of those Pokemon, and that's it. As far as I'm aware, that's what I've taken from it. But I've spoken to a few people who've watched the presents, and they said it's not as exciting as I thought it was going to be.
For a start, that's creepy as anything. A load of Pokemon gathering around me to watch me sleep. But secondly, yeah, how exciting can you make a game about falling asleep then?
It's like, I'm going to sleep. Let me just quickly tell my app I'm going to sleep. Wake up. Oh, I've got Pokemon around me.
Yeah. And as well as the app, this is compatible with the new and very imaginatively named Pokemon Plus Plus.
Oh, my days. It's like the typical Nintendo fashion of shocking names.
Yeah. How could they give it such a bad name?
It's not just called plus plus one. It's spelt plus, and then it's just got a symbol plus after that.
Yeah, because obviously if it was just 2 pluses, it'd just look weird.
Yeah.
In a couple of years, they're going to bring out a new version.
What, the plus plus plus?
No, they'll bring it out. It'll be the new Pokemon Plus Plus U XL.
What? Why can't they just be a bit more imaginative with the names?
Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're quite imaginative. Even when they don't make a good name, like the Wii. In English, it's like we as in a group playing together. And even the 2 eyes in Wii are supposed to represent 2 players playing together.
No. Over here, everyone just took a mick out of it because everyone's like, oh, you go for a Wii.
Oh, how funny that was. Not. Yeah, I agree. I watched this and again, I think I've lost the love for Pokemon.
As I was alluding to before, everyone was thinking, okay, this is it. They're going to announce Red, Blue, and Yellow coming out for Nintendo Switch Online. Didn't get it, sadly. Was not there. There was only two things actually that I really caught my interest, but one especially was a Pokemon trading card game classic, which looks really nice, if I'm honest. It goes back to the original roots of the original card games when it first came out, where it's got the decks featuring the 3 original starters and their full evolutions. I don't know. I think it looks very, very nice.
Yeah, if you're into card games, I guess so, but I'm really not. So I had no interest in this at all.
See, me and my brothers are. So it's something that we would look to pick up. It comes in a very nice case. It has your little box that's got like your counters and everything else, and it's got 3 slots for decks, because you don't just have to use these decks. You can put any decks in there. This is what it comes with.
I did have the original Pokemon trading card game, like starter pack, where you got 2 decks worth, and It was all the original 150 Pokemon, and you got dice and counters and bits in it. And again, it was one of them. I played it with some people and they just bored me to tears with it. Never played it and I ended up giving them away.
I played the Pokemon card game with my brothers quite a few times. They've got a lot of decks, and I've got a couple upstairs as well. But not only that, we also play Magic, we also play Yu-Gi-Oh! So card games is definitely something that we really enjoy. And it just looks really nice.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not something I've ever played. Magic, I have. Again, it was the same group of people and they just bored me to tears with it.
The thing is though, a lot of these is a similar group of people that you play with. Okay, let's be.
I'm trying to be nice. It wasn't a group of people. It was Phil.
Okay, there we go. Yeah,
I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice and not single him out.
Sorry, Phil. But the thing is though, if you give it another try with someone else, might change your attitude towards it.
Nah.
Let's say. Yeah, great. Thanks, Phil.
Other than a very nice looking card game, was there anything else that they announced?
Yes. There is a new stop motion series coming to Netflix, which is called Pokémon Concierge. And we don't know much about it, but I think it sounds pretty nice from what we've seen so far. It follows Haru, the concierge on the island, and her sidekick, Psyduck, as they look after all the Pokemon guests within the island. I think it's a very good idea. It's coming to Netflix because it's in partnership with them. What did you think to the little segment that you saw of it?
Well, there wasn't really much. The only bit I saw is where the Psyduck waddles on and then the girl strolls up and looks up at the camera, and that's all there is, isn't there?
That is all there is. But I think the art style and the animation does look quite nice.
Yeah, it's nice to get something different than the usual anime style Pokemon that we always see.
Yes.
And stop motion, it's not something that's very common, especially nowadays.
Oh, no, not at all. And then lastly, this might interest you, however, will be a good few years down the line, is they've announced a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet expansions, which are both coming later this year staggered, like they did for Sword and Shield.
I'm not even going to get through the content that's already on the cartridge, let alone any DLC.
No, exactly. No, I know you won't, but just thought I'd just throw it in there. So, not as meaty as I thought it was going to be. I don't know. I felt like it was a lot of little tidbits rather than just focus on certain select parts.
There was new characters and trainers available on various mobile games and that.
Yeah.
I think people's opinion of this Pokemon Presents would have been drastically different had they, like you said earlier, said, oh, and as part of the new rollout of Game Boy games to Nintendo Online, we're bringing Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, and Gold and Silver will be released this summer, followed by Ruby and Sapphire on the Game Boy Advance on the expansion pack later on in the year.
I think that's what everyone's waiting for.
Well, yeah, that just makes sense to do that.
Yeah, as soon as they've announced the Game Boy game's coming on, why not turn up and just go, here you go, the Pokemon game's coming in. Why would you not tie them together?
Exactly. So I feel like it was a missed opportunity.
Oh, definitely.
It wasn't terrible, but I suppose for me personally, there was nothing that I saw that I thought, I'm getting really excited about that. But again, Pokemon just fails to do that for me anymore.
Nothing gets you quite excited like Sonic does. As we're taking, a bit of a stroll down memory lane, talking about old Pokemon games, there's some other old games that might be coming around as well, mightn't there?
Yeah, old games in our retro-focused podcast. Imagine that.
I know.
So there is rumours swirling around that we could be seeing a Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi remake sometime in the near future.
That would be awesome. Honestly, both those games are fantastic games.
Yeah, but Crazy Taxi is not Crazy Taxi unless they can get the Offspring back.
Surely they can do.
Get the Offspring back, a few new tracks, or similar sort of music to that, and be fantastic. And make it just as insane as the old one. Hopping your taxi over a 18-wheeler to get to KFC in time to get an extra tip. That's what it's all about. And Jet Set Radio, well, for a start, they need to bring Jet Set Radio Future. Just re-release that.
Yeah.
That needs to come back to modern consoles. And Jet Set Radio as well, as long as they do something with it. This is a game that we haven't seen a sequel since Jet Set Radio Future on the original Xbox. And the rumor is that we might not just be getting a remake, it could be a reboot or a remaster.
Honestly, if I could just turn and say to, Samson Asher, Samson, this is a game that he would turn around and play, but like, Samson, this is what I played when I was your age. Flipping out. Oh, geez, yeah, it was. Flipping out. I think you would actually quite enjoy it.
Thanks for that. This is what I played when I'd left college.
Whoops. But I am excited if this does happen. Honestly, I've not played them since the original Xbox, which I'm sad about. I know I could pick up on backwards compatibility, but I haven't done so. But if there was a re-release
unfortunately,
now,
Jet Set Radio Future isn't on backwards compatibility.
No, it's just Jet Set Radio, isn't it?
Yeah, which was like a re-release on the 360.
No, that's a futurist. I don't think I ever played the original the one on the 360. I only played the original on the Xbox, which, in all fairness, was best.
No, that's actually backwards. The one on the 360 is the original game. The one on the Xbox is actually the sequel.
Oh, whatever. Anyway, the one on the original Xbox is the one.
That's the better one. That's the sequel.
Why do games have to confuse me?
Well, in all fairness, a lot of things confuse you. It's not uncommon, is it?
Yeah, whatever, old man.
Listen, my body might not be there, but mentally, I'm still sharp as ever. These are only rumors. So what a lot of people are saying they're getting is a poll from Sega asking them what sort of old Sega IPs that have just been left, forgotten, gathering dust in the corner of the room would they like to see coming back. And on a lot of them, Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi are appearing, as well as some older properties such as Streets of Rage and Golden Axe.
So, what, do you reckon they're going to look to maybe release some sort of collection or something?
Don't think there'll be a collection, although, oddly enough, I think both Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio were on a Dreamcast collection on the Xbox 360, along with, I want to say, Sonic Adventure.
Okay.
So maybe they'll make a little collection, a Dreamcast Volume 2 or something. However, I think Sega are just fishing to see what they can do. Now, I found it odd that Streets of Rage was mentioned, since we got a new Streets of Rage game a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
However, unlike that title, so the rumor is Sega themselves will be taking the lead on this, as opposed to giving it out to a third party like they did with Streets of Rage 4, where they give it to Dotemu and Lizard Cube.
Okay, so do you reckon they're going to sort of look to maintain this all themselves if they were to push it forwards then? Is that they want to just... Maybe they're bored, they've got nothing to do?
I don't think that's the case. They're still doing Sonic games, Yakuza games. They've got, or Like a Dragon, whatever it's called nowadays. So they've got a lot of franchises that they're still maintaining. But there is such a wealth of IP, especially from the Mega Drive, that they just haven't touched or done anything meaningful with.
Sat there, unused, unloved, that needs some care.
And this could actually tie into not only the so-called Super Game Initiative that they announced back in 2020, but also perhaps it's something to do with the partnership that they struck with Microsoft to use the Azure servers. So maybe, I don't know, this is only me projecting of what I would love to see, but maybe a Jet Set Radio game that's an MMO. And if you want to get to a new city and, pretty sharpish, some players could be driving around in taxis. Imagine that. Combine the two games together. Oh no, the police are coming. Taxi! Hey. I don't know. I haven't got a clue, to be honest. I'm just making stuff up at this point. But I know it's somewhat frowned upon. It's something that's fallen out of fashion now. But maybe some sort of live service where you go on, they constantly add new content to the game for a while.
I don't know. I would just be excited to see these games make a return. That's it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would just be happy with a Jet Set Radio Future re-release.
Yeah.
But if they do start bringing back some of these old IPs, what other Sega IPs would you like to see that we haven't seen for a while? Obviously, we see Sonic every few years.
I've not got a vast knowledge in Sega like you do, so I can't really comment if I'm completely honest. I'm sorry.
I would like to see another proper Shining Force game.
Okay.
Strategy Shining Force game. There's Dragon Force as well, which is a completely different type of strategy RPG, even though the name sounds somewhat similar. I'd love to see them. Again, Golden Axe. We haven't seen Golden Axe in quite a while. As long as it doesn't come out and it's, I don't know, a Dark Souls style game or something stupid like that.
I don't know. But let's hope there is some sort of collection with these in, or just a standard game. If they release that game and they release it as maybe like a...
No, I don't think it'll be a collection.
If they release a single game, did it more like a remake, £15-20, yeah, I'm down for that.
No, I think these would be full priced, £50 plus games, not part of a remake, just individual titles. If they do them, I'd rather them do them well than make a budget £20 Jet Set Radio. I would want a £50 AA, maybe even a AAA title that I could really enjoy. Rather than it's kind of cool, it's a bit like the old one. There's one or two good tracks in it. I'd want it to like play it and be like grinning from here to here, thinking this is the best thing since Sonic.
Relive my childhood.
Well, my adulthood. Thanks for rubbing that in again. Right. Well, talking about childhood, one of my favourite games as a child was the Mega Man series.
Was it?
Oh. And
yeah, it was.
The Blue Bomber is making another unlikely appearance in Minecraft.
I know. I read this and I thought, why is he going to Minecraft? But in all fairness, there's been some really weird crossovers in Minecraft, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I saw it and thought, Mega Man Minecraft, never see that coming a million miles away, and thought, hang on a minute, Capcom have done it before. There was a Street Fighter crossover.
Yeah. Because there's also one that I got for Asher. Asher's got a Ben 10 crossover.
I've got the Sonic the Hedgehog crossover. It might surprise you to know that I've got that one.
Yeah, in all fairness, I could never guess that was going to happen. And there's also a Halo one, which, I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah, I have the Halo one as well. Yes. So this new DLC,
Star Wars. There's so many crossovers.
Yeah, there's loads of them, and this DLC it's available now actually.
Okay,
and it's £6.69, and it includes 14 new skins, some music tracks from the Mega Man X series, and a stage where you go through and you battle a couple of the robotic bosses.
That's pretty cool.
Looks like a decent bit of content for your money.
It does. However, when was the last time we played Minecraft? So I don't know. I'm just thinking more. Sounds cool, but I don't know if it's something that would pick up.
When was the time that This Is Sparted you down that giant hole?
Absolutely. Living idiot.
Yeah. Just waited for you to get just strip mine like a 10 by 10 hole. Waited for you to climb all the way to the top of the way. This is Sparta!
Hit me down. The thing is, though, there was patches of water, and there was like 2 bits of block that weren't in the water, and hit the block and died. That was the worst part of it as well. There was 2 blocks.
Good times.
The amount thanks for that. The amount of times we'll go into it, like, oh yeah, let's build this, let's build that. I'll go off and come on the next day. And Barry had been on for a few more hours, and he's just. Honestly, I'm like, what do I do now? There's nothing for me to do. Barry's built a massive wall. He's built an underground system.
One day, I suppose we could actually do what we're supposed to do and, go defeat the Ender Dragon. I just get distracted. Like, I can dig another room underneath this one and a few corridors. And see that mountain in the distance? I can make a train track all the way to that.
No, but that's the thing. Like, but the thing is, you can't wait. So I said, I'll be on for a few hours, go off, and you're on for another sort of few hours after that. And then you just play. And I'm coming to it, and it's like, what the heck have you been doing? Did you not go to bed? You're like, no.
Yes, I may have a problem. Although I could play it on the Switch. It gave me a reason to play a game on the Switch.
No, you've got enough to play on the Switch. And also, we wouldn't be able to play online together, so you just play by yourself.
Yeah, of course we would. If you're playing on the Xbox or the PC, I can play on the Switch.
Oh, yeah, good point. Oh, no, don't you have to have Switch online?
Oh, God, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, there you go.
I was going to say, more importantly, I still get Xbox achievements on the Switch version as well.
Exactly.
Right, well, now that you disappointed me by reminding me that I'd need to pay for Switch Online to do that, should we move on?
Yes, we shall. And it's come to a point where we want to ask you for your help. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can do so by leaving us an honest review in your favourite podcasting app.
Alternatively, if you're able to, you can join our Patreon for as little as £1 per month, where you'll receive an ad-free version of the podcast and get a shout out at the beginning of the next episode.
Okay, so we've gone through some bits, but I think we've got some pretty good talk points coming up next.
We do, and the first one actually surprised me. Although, I must admit, I did get a bit excited for it till I read it.
Okay, go on. So, what is it? What was your letdown you've had here?
So, PolyMega, we've talked about this a couple of times throughout the previous 87 episodes. So, for those that don't know, PolyMega is a console that allows you to play your old games, be them Sega Saturn, PlayStation, Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. I think the TurboGrafx is in there somewhere. And it's a very nice looking console. All the modern features that you expect. Quick save, wireless controllers. You can use your old controllers. However, the issue is not only the price, but the availability of the damn thing.
Oh, yeah. You've never been able to get hold of the thing, but then the price has always been... Well, let's just put it this way. An Xbox Series X is the same price.
Yeah, you can get either of the top tier new current gen consoles for the same price as not only this console, but the base version of this console.
Because the base version sets you back a big, hefty £465. That's before anything else.
Yes. And that version only plays disc-based games. So if you do want to play your Super Nintendo, your Mega Drive, Genesis, N64, you have to buy additional modules. And these vary from like £65 to £75 each module.
And how many modules is there?
Including the N64 one, there's 5 modules, I believe. There's a SNES, a Mega Drive, Turbo Graphics, the mentioned N64 one, and a NES one.
So those modules all vary between £67 to £75 each. So let's just average out at £70 a little module. So that's essentially about £350 on top of the base unit.
Yes, they do, if you buy the deluxe set, give you 4 of the modules. So it's all of them except the Nintendo 64 module. And that's £677. Well, however, that's not actually the worst part. Even if you have that money, you still have to wait until the 4th quarter of this year for delivery.
Oh, because of how sold out they are?
I don't even think it's because they're super popular. I think it's because maybe they're having issues just sourcing parts. Over the last few years, every company's had that issue. Now, what I will say is these are nice looking consoles. They have a really nice UI and it gives you a lot of modern features. Have quick saves, you can play online with friends. You can even copy your disc-based game or your cartridge to the system so that you can play it without the actual original media. So you're not putting more wear and tear on it. However, that's all great if you can actually find one of these things. So what PolyMega have announced is they are bringing the software that these systems run to your computer with the PolyMega app. So this gives you the same UI, the same sort of feature set.
Just on your PC instead.
And once it's released, you can download the app. It'll be a free app. And you can use your existing optical drive in your PC or laptop to chuck in your Sega Saturn games, say, and use your own controller and just play. And you'll have almost all the same features. However, for those that don't have an optical drive built into the computer, which if it's a relatively modern computer, let's face it, it's going to be most people, isn't it?
Yeah.
They are selling the PolyMega Remix, which looks exactly like the PolyMega console, but costs $150.
Is this just for the optical drive, sorry?
This is just for the optical drive part of it, yes.
Why would you pay that? If you could just get, an external one that plugs in via USB, you could pick up for, 20, 30.
Yes. First of all, they say it'll work with any external optical drive. So you don't have to buy this. You could just go out, pay £15, get a USB one. That'll work fine.
Why would you release at that price?
Well, the reason they're releasing it is because you can use these same modules. So if you really wanted to play your Mega Drive, your N64, your SNES games, you can still get the modules and it will work with the PolyMega Remix.
Okay.
There are cheaper ways to copy your cartridges across, but it's better than £450 for just the base unit. However, this does need to be connected to your computer to run. So although it's £150, it looks like the console, it will not work standalone. You still need to connect it to your laptop or your PC.
So say it's on your desk. So you'll have your computer, wherever you're sat. Then plugged into it will be the Remix. Then plugged in, you can have your modules as well on top of that. So your desk is going to get pretty cluttered.
Well, no, because the actual modules connect directly into the optical part. So it's not another thing hanging off the side.
Got you.
On top of that, they have a subscription-based service called PolyMega XL, which also allows you to store your games in the cloud so that you can access them from other devices like a mobile phone, another laptop, another PC. So you can start playing on one device and then move across to the other one. Now, for this subscription, they haven't announced a price for it. Although anyone who has purchased a PolyMega system prior to 31st of December will be entitled to get in early on the beta and will get 1 year's free subscription to it as well.
Okay.
I'll probably give this app a go.
I was about to say, would you try it?
Because I'd love to have one of these consoles, but not at the price they're at. They were originally announced at $250. And at that price, they were like, well, yeah, it's a premium price point. And then it creeped up, 300 quid, 400 quid, 450 quid. And you're like,
it's not going to
how can you justify As far as I'm aware, these are only really low-powered PCs. I think it's something like a Celeron processor that they run. So it's not even as if the high-end hardware.
Because you followed this from the very start when it got released, and you were very interested in having this.
I think it was called Retroblocks originally, if I remember right.
Okay.
So I've been interested in it for years.
Well, exactly, and you were following it for ages, and like you said, it's just spiraled, and you're like, you just could no longer justify it, and I don't see who could justify that price.
The only reviews I've ever seen for this is YouTubers who were sent one for free. I've not seen anyone going, oh, I purchased one of these and I've received it. Here's my honest review. It's always been, we were sent this free from PolyMega.
Oh, right.
I'm sure they have sent ones out for people who've purchased them. I just don't know how many. Is it a couple of hundred, couple of thousand, tens of thousands? I have no idea.
Because you'd have thought people would have given their opinions on it if there was enough sent out.
Yeah. I'll definitely give the app a go, especially the free version. And I'll see what it's like. The premium version with being able to stream your games could be all right. Depends on the cost, though.
Tell you what, speaking of streaming, Barry, have you heard about Microsoft and Nvidia?
I haven't.
Well, Microsoft, they made a deal with Nvidia, and they're now signing a deal to bring Xbox PC games to Nvidia GeForce Now.
So is this just Game Pass titles that they're bringing to Nvidia GeForce Now?
Yeah, so it's just Game Pass titles. So they're basically just syncing Game Pass with Nvidia GeForce. So it's just one big collection of streaming games, I guess. And not gonna lie, this is actually a pretty big deal. Because weren't Nvidia one of the people who were against the Activision acquisition merger?
They expressed concern about Microsoft getting too big as a streaming platform and becoming a monopoly. So it was them and Stadia.
Stadia we just don't talk about anymore. But this brings games to a lot more people on a lot more devices.
To me, this seems a little bit redundant. So you're going to be able to stream your Xbox games on Nvidia GeForce Now, but you've already got Xbox Cloud streaming, so I don't really see the point with this.
This is all PC games.
Oh, that's cool. So it's not Xbox games, it's Xbox PC titles.
Yeah, so it's all Xbox PC titles. So Xbox is a complete separate entity. This is all Xbox PC titles. So anything within the PC Game Pass, that is what you can now stream. So you can now stream that to any PCs, Macs, Chromebooks, anything at all. So this is a massive step for Xbox, in my opinion.
Phil Spencer's always said that he just wants to get Game Pass and Xbox titles on as many platforms as he can. As I mentioned quite regularly, I use Shadow for streaming PC games. Now, that does give me a full PC, but to be honest, majority of the time I'm on it is to just stream games. And that's like £30 per month. Now, Nvidia actually gives you a free tier where you can play for up to an hour. And then you can also get your priority and your ultimate packs, which I think start at like $8.99 a month.
So that's not too bad as long as you utilize it. Because the last thing you want to do is pay for it and then not use it as often. Especially for yourself, you've not got a dedicated gaming PC. So streaming for you is more ideal. And if you don't have the money to pay for full price PC, then there you go. Streaming is definitely the way to go. But there's so many more games being added. But not only have they announced that they're bringing Xbox PC titles, they've also said that all Activision PC titles, like Call of Duty and that, will also be added into this as well.
No, that's pretty cool, actually. Because, especially with the cost of high-end graphics cards now, I was just having a quick look then, you can get, for $17.99, their highest tier, which gives you an RTX 3090, which will then be upgraded to a 4090 in the future. That graphics card, I'm sure that's like $1,500 graphics card. So you'd have to subscribe to this 100 months. So what's that, like 8 years?
Yeah.
Just for the cost of that one graphics card.
And that's the thing, streaming, well, especially for that price, if you want to fork out for that graphics card, unless you've really got that money to burn, it's going to be more of a viable solution for you. And with more and more titles being added to be able to be streamed, it kind of makes buying for the hardware redundant a bit if you can just stream it at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, in those 10 years' time, or 8 years' time, you might need to upgrade your graphics card again. How much is it going to cost you?
Oh, yeah, you definitely got to have to upgrade a graphics card within 8 years, no matter how good it is at the moment. But it's not only that, it's also the flexibility. The thing I like about Shadow is I can play a game on my Mac. I can go downstairs and play it on my iPad. In work, I can log in on my phone and play some games on my phone with virtual joypads. So the fact that I'm not tethered to a physical piece of hardware, that's something that's really appealing to me. Plus, the cost of it compared to actually buying that hardware to begin with. Now, for some reason, I understand that that'll be a turn-off. Some people like to own that hardware.
But Microsoft are dipping their fingers into all these different pies. I guess they are building this community that they want to build. They are looking to make gaming accessible to anyone, aren't they?
Yeah, the more ways you have to play, the better. But just going back, you was mentioning high-end Activision games like Call of Duty would be available on GeForce Now.
Yes.
Microsoft have also agreed a 10-year contract with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo's consoles.
This is something they spoke about before, but the fact that they've now signed the deal to say this is happening, Microsoft's president Brad Smith announced it in a tweet. In his tweet, he said to bring Xbox games to Nintendo players. He didn't specify Call of Duty. He said Xbox games.
I think this is more aimed at Call of Duty because he did announce that they will bring Call of Duty to Nintendo consoles, but feature comparable with other versions.
Yeah, so any of the sort of consoles bring out, it will then be able to be across them. Because that was a big worry that a lot of people had, was that, okay, yeah, they'll turn and say, yes, it's available for 10 years, but then, I don't know, 3 years down the line, Nintendo release a console, like, stuff it done. No, they've turned and said that any future consoles that come out within those 10 years, we will put Call of Duty onto it.
And not only put Call of Duty on, but put the same one you're getting on Xbox, on PC.
Yes.
I would imagine on PlayStation as well, but the way Sony's being at the moment, they're refusing to sign this same agreement. Apparently, Brad Smith's actually carrying around a copy of this agreement in his pocket. So if someone from Sony wants to sign it, he has it there and then for them to sign.
Not only did he do that, is he doing that, he actually stood up at the hearing in front of everyone and held up the contract and said, I've got it here in my hand if you want to sign it.
Have you seen all the memes about it?
Yes.
Where it shows someone crying and it says like, Sony, worried they won't have long-term access to Call of Duty. Also, Sony refusing to sign a 10-year agreement to have long-term access to Call of Duty.
It's just because they don't want to have their monopoly on the gaming industry threatened. That's the thing. Yep. They have the monopoly, and they're saying that this acquisition will be the monopoly. Well, actually, look at all the stats. It's nowhere near. But I think Sony is starting to feel threatened by Microsoft lately more and more.
Yes. And it might actually be to do with the other tweet that Microsoft have announced about Call of Duty, where they said what their plans would be around exclusive content. Have you seen that one?
I've not seen that, no.
Right, so they've clarified how exclusive content for Call of Duty would work once the Activision acquisition goes through.
Yeah.
And the way it would work is there would be none.
Okay. What? Full stop for anyone?
Full stop. So you wouldn't get like a cheeky little Xbox skin on the Xbox or anything like that, or early access to DLC or a bonus map if you buy it on Xbox or anything like that. No one would have any early access to anything or exclusive content, which is something that Sony have done for the last handful of years. Yeah. And Microsoft did it before Sony as well.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong, but I agree with that. I don't like the way that people have exclusivities like Destiny. The amount of extra raids, the extra guns that Sony had on Destiny, whereas Xbox got nothing.
Yes.
Really
exactly.
peeved me. Why is this a thing? So great, they get extra raids and we get nothing. And Sony are being absolute arseholes about all this, yet they do it all themselves. So they've got no leg to stand on at all, which really.
But when Sony do it, that's different because that's for the players.
Yeah, they're not for the players.
Yeah, they're for the shareholders.
Yes. Oh yeah. If it doesn't make them money, then they're not interested. If it makes them lose money, then they'll fight it.
One other thing, going back to bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo as well, I did have a little chuckle. I don't know if they meant it in the way I read it, but they said it will come to Nintendo's consoles, feature complete, and will play as you expect on a Nintendo console. So I looked at that and I thought, what, so like 520p, 30 frames per second, juttering everywhere, load of lag?
Yeah.
So that's the way I read it, but I don't think that's the way they meant it. But it did make me chuckle.
You never know. They may turn it into, you stream it. So be like, hey guys, Game Pass, why don't you stream it? That's how you can get it on there.
Possibly. A bit of a Trojan horse to get.
Well, I know you, like you said, they're focusing on Call of Duty, but they said bring Xbox titles to Nintendo gamers.
Yes.
Xbox, not Call of Duty.
They have brought a few Xbox titles to the Switch already.
But if they turn around and say, here's Game Pass, let's stream them, and that's it. You've then got Game Pass and Switch, which we've been asking for.
I also believe this will be from 2024 onwards. So the chance is it may not actually see the Switch. It may jump to whatever Nintendo's successor might be.
Which might be better for them, because then they don't have to try and fit Call of Duty on the Switch.
Yes. Yeah. I think there's definite constraints. Imagine trying to get Warzone on a 32 gig Nintendo Switch cartridge. How big's that game? Is it like 150 gig or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I'm sure it's massive.
Yeah, I don't think you find many Call of Duty games that small.
No, not anymore. Remember when they used to fit on a 4.5 gigabyte disc? They were the days. Right, well, we've come to the end of our news, and that means we've come to the end of our episode this week.
Yes, we have.
I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone for listening. I've been Barry, and this is the end of the episode. If you'd like to find out more about anything mentioned, then please take a look at the show notes. We've been the Retro Gaming Dads, and we'll see you next time.
There was only two things actually that I really caught my interest, but one especially was they've announced a Pokemon trading card game.
Yeah, I think you got some letters mixed up there.
Just a tad.